I am going to say something that is going to upset some people. And I want you to hear me out before you scroll to the comments to tell me I am wrong. Dutton Ranch is going to be better than Yellowstone. Not just good, not just worthy of the name. Better. And I have 5 specific reasons why I believe that. Let's get into it. Sign number 1. Beth and Rip are finally the center of the story, and that changes everything. Here is something I want you to think about. For 5 seasons of Yellowstone, Beth Dutton and Rip Wheeler were the best part of the show. Every single time they were on screen, everything else stopped mattering. The land dispute storylines, the political maneuvering, the bunkhouse drama, all of it faded the moment Kelly Reilly opened her mouth or Cole Hauser walked into a room. But they were never the center. They were orbiting John Dutton. Everything they did was in service of his legacy, his ranch, his fight. And when Kevin Costner left and John died the way he did, off screen from faceless assassins, without the send-off the character deserved, the entire show lost its anchor. And Beth and Rip were left doing what they were always built to do, but without the gravitational pull that held everything together. Dutton Ranch removes that problem completely. There is no anchor except them, no patriarch to orbit, no inherited purpose to fulfill. Beth and Rip are fighting for something that belongs entirely to them for the first time in the history of this franchise. And I honestly believe that when Kelly Reilly does not have to share the emotional weight of a scene with a man who is not there anymore, we are going to see the performance of her career. Sign number 2. Texas is a smarter setting than Montana ever was. I know what you are thinking. Yellowstone without Montana is not really Yellowstone. And I understand that. The landscapes of that show were practically a character in themselves. But here's the thing. Montana also came with every limitation that eventually strangled Yellowstone. The same enemies, the same political battles, the same factions fighting over the same land. If Dutton Ranch had stayed in Montana, it would have spent its entire first season under the shadow of what came before. Every episode would have reminded us of what we lost when John died, and the original show ended badly. South Texas is a completely different world, a completely different set of power dynamics, land laws, ranching culture, and threats. The soil runs different down there. The blood feuds go back generations that have nothing to do with the Duttons. And Beth walking into that environment, someone who has spent her entire life weaponizing her intelligence against Montana's old guard, is going to face an entirely different kind of opponent. One she has no history with, one who does not know her, one who will underestimate her completely. And I honestly cannot wait to watch that go wrong for them. Sign number 3. The villain is going to be better than anyone Yellowstone ever produced. Annette Bening is playing Beulah Jackson, the head of a rival ranching empire. Powerful, charming, cunning, and absolutely ruthless about protecting what she has built. And in the teaser trailer, we already get to see her sitting across from Beth Dutton, 2 women who are each the most dangerous person in any room they have ever walked into, talking about the beauty and the frailty of a family's legacy. I want to stop there. Because Yellowstone never gave us a villain like this, every antagonist in Yellowstone was either a corrupt politician, a scheming developer, or a cartoonish crime figure. They were obstacles, props, things for the Duttons to run over on the way to the next episode. None of them were ever a genuine equal to Beth Dutton. Beulah Jackson is. She is not fighting the Duttons over land because she wants money. She is fighting them because she has built something just as powerful as what the Duttons built in Montana. and she will burn the entire state of Texas to the ground before she lets anyone take it from her. That is a villain who matches Beth's energy completely. And I honestly do not know who I am more afraid of when those two are in the same room. That is a feeling Yellowstone never gave me. Not once in 5 seasons. And then there is Ed Harris as Everett McKinney, a weathered war veteran and veterinarian. Quiet, complicated, already appearing alongside Beth as early as episode 2. Ed Harris does not take roles that do not matter. He has never once walked into a scene and been forgettable. His presence in this show tells me the writing is operating at a level that Yellowstone in its later seasons simply was not. Sign number 4. The creative team behind Dutton Ranch is hungrier than Yellowstone ever was. Chad Feenan is the showrunner. He is not Taylor Sheridan, and I know some of you just winced at that, but hear me out. One of Yellowstone's biggest problems in its final season was Taylor Sheridan doing too much at once. Tulsa King, Lioness, Landman, Mayor of Kingstown, the 1923 extension. All of it running simultaneously while Yellowstone was trying to close out its run with a storyline that had been completely rewritten because of Kevin Costner's departure. You could feel it in the writing. You could feel the show being stretched thin by a showrunner who was building an empire instead of protecting his flagship. Dutton Ranch is Chad Feehan's show. One show. His focus. His creative energy is entirely on Beth and Rip and South Texas. And the pilot was written by R. Scott Gemmell, who spent 14 seasons inside NCIS Los Angeles and then created The Pit, one of the most critically acclaimed new dramas of 2025. That is a man who knows how to build tension, character, and momentum inside a tight episode structure. And the director of the premiere and the season finale is Christina Alexandra Voros, who has already said there is so much potential in this universe and made it clear. She came to this show to make something extraordinary. I honestly believe a more focused creative team is going to produce a more focused show. And Dutton Ranch has every reason to be exactly that. Sign number 5. Dutton Ranch has something Yellowstone spent 5 seasons trying to build and never quite achieved. A clean emotional purpose. What was Yellowstone actually about? On the surface, protecting the ranch. But underneath that, it was about John Dutton's inability to love his children the way they needed to be loved. It was about Beth carrying wounds from her childhood that never healed. It was about Rip trying to be worthy of a family that had already decided he was. It was about Case running from everything while pretending he was standing still. All of that emotional architecture was incredible, and it was never fully resolved because the show ended before it could be. Dutton Ranch picks up on the other side of all of it. Beth and Rip made it. They survived the ranch. They survived John's death. They survived Jamie. They got out, and now they are in South Texas with Carter, a boy who is becoming a man, trying to build something that belongs to them, that is not haunted by anyone else's legacy, that they chose entirely on their own terms. That is the clearest emotional premise this franchise has ever had. 2 people who spent their entire lives fighting other people's battles, finally fighting their own. And the cost of survival might just be your soul. I honestly think that last line from the official synopsis is doing a lot of work, because survival in Yellowstone always meant protecting land. In Dutton Ranch, it seems like survival might mean protecting who they actually are, what they actually believe. Whether building a new life in Texas makes them better versions of themselves, or just relocates the same darkness to a different state. That is a more interesting question than anything Yellowstone asked in its final 2 seasons, and I cannot wait to watch Beth and Rip wrestle with it every single Friday night starting May 15th. Dutton Ranch premieres on Paramount Plus with 2 episodes on Friday, May 15th. New episodes every Friday after that through the 9-episode season finale. If you have Paramount Network, it starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Time the same night. And if the teaser trailer is any indication of what those 9 episodes are going to feel like, I honestly think we are about to watch the Yellowstone universe do the best thing it has done since 1883. Drop a comment and tell me, do you think Dutton Ranch can actually be better than Yellowstone? And which of these 5 signs excite you the most? Because for me, it is that scene in the trailer where Beth and Beulah Jackson sit across from each other. I have watched it 4 times, and it gets better every single time.